The Iron Claw is out in theaters, written and directed by Sean Durkin, starring Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White, Harris Dickinson, Holt McCallany, and Lily James. It is a heartbreaking drama based on the true story of the Von Erich family, a family of American wrestlers that was active between the 1970s and the 1990s, apparently rather famous. Now, I'm not American and I don't really give a shit about wrestling, so all of this was new to me. I was warned by the internet to expect a rather sad film, but it still exceeded those expectations in terms of the levels of sadness and was more depressing than I expected. And then I read up on some of the details that were changed for the movie, and apparently the reality was even more depressing than that. So the gist of the story is that these four brothers, five in reality, but one was cut out from the script. Four brothers are raised by this very strict, sort of psychopathic father who was a wrestler himself previously, and now his only single ambition in life is to make one of his sons a champion. He pushes them hard, he doesn't allow for any excuses or emotions, he's ruthless, and as a result all of the brothers do all that they can to try and fulfill his ambitions. And in time, because of those ambitions, but partly also because of events that can only be described as bad luck or accidents, a sequence of tragedies befalls the family. The story is told from the perspective of Kevin, played by Zac Efron, who's kind of the survivor, and as things fall apart around him, he's desperately trying to keep things together and save his family, but also continuously still win the approval of his dad. So yeah, it's a really heartbreaking film. The first half or so sets it up as this inspiring sports movie focusing on brotherly love and how they're really close together and support one another. And they're on the way to success, and then it turns into almost a horror film with one tragic event after the next, and the trauma just keeps accumulating. The performances are, I think, fantastic across the board. Zac Efron manages to impress in the lead role. The interesting thing is he was told by the director to not cry and to not, be visibly be upset and allow those emotions to come out for the entirety of the film until the very last scene, which is very in line with the character, with how these boys were sort of raised by their father. So it very much fits the character. The supporting cast is great, most notably Holt McCallany, who is absolutely evil as the father, just personifies selfishness and blindness to his own shortcomings and to the needs of his family. I also liked how the movie is accessible for people who, like me, are not fans of wrestling. In fact, I would argue from this perspective it gets an additional interesting layer where I was thinking, why are all these people effectively destroying their lives, destroying themselves for what is not even a sport, just a glorified theater with blood? Why do they care so much about these championships when all the fights are directed and predetermined? It just makes the whole thing completely mental and more tragic. And yeah, I've read many American explanations over the years where people go, no, wrestling is real, it isn't fake because they're getting hurt for real. What a strange logic is that? A fake sport with no actual competition taking place is real because people fall on their faces and get hurt. That's just insane for me, I'm sorry. But again, for me that just added to the tragedy. I like the cinematography, costumes, I like the soundtrack used in the film, and having read about the factual inconsistencies, I have to say at the end of the day I don't mind them so much because the spirit of the story is pretty much left intact. So, well, yeah, I enjoyed it is not the right phrase for this type of film because it was devastating and I wouldn't want to watch it again. But I appreciated the story and the way it was told and executed. Solid movie.